Hello fellow enthusiasts, and welcome to another episode of Scaled Affairs, the show where I take a closer look on anime figures of all kind. When I said I will restyle the show to give them a more swinging vibe, I guess you wouldn't have thought that I mean it quite literally. And you know what is worse than a middle-aged creep on a playground hogging all the swings? Well, a middle-aged creep on a playground hogging all the swings, bringing a scale figure with him. Well, I guess I'm not doing myself any favor with this kind of opening, eh? Maybe it is better if we return to the usual void for this. Yeah, this is better, because there was this mom sitting on a bench that gave me a very judgmental stare. Anyhow, as you might already guess, this is the box the figure comes in. It's a windowless one and quite pretty, dare I say. I know some collectors don't like them because you can't see the actual figure and therefore don't judge the paint job or the facial expression. But in my opinion, nowadays it's quite easy to get pictures or a review like this of any given release, and therefore it provides for more possibilities in the art direction. Like for example this huge close-up of her on one side or this more detailed look on the other. On the back side we have a bit of legal text as well as a front view and a back view, and a speech bubble that tells us a revolution. A figure you can mount on the wall. But then again, with enough adhesive, I can mount any figure pretty much anywhere, am I right? On the front side, we are once again reminded that indeed this is a wall figure, and we also have this graphic up there that looks like a barcode. Don't know why it's there, maybe it's some sort of reference to the show. On the bottom we can read who sculpted and painted the figure in English, a feature that definitely more figure boxes should have. All in all, I really like this box. It has a good size, classic proportions, and in this matte finish feels really substantial. Inside the box the figure is placed in a normal looking blister, but most of the interior space is used up by the mounting gear and the wide mini shelf. When I first saw this one online, I thought, hey, that's a unique way to present the figure, and so I pre-ordered her. But now that I think about it, this really is only useful if you can mount it to a wall. In fact, to present this to you in a somewhat decent manner, I had to adapt my method of filming a bit, because otherwise shots like this would be the only thing I could get of her straight out of the box. But there is a way to detach Rikka from her plastic shackles so that she can swing freely wherever she wants. So by the end of this review I will show you a way how to ditch the wall mount in case you want to hang her from the top of a shelf or showcase. Because the white shelf is basically just a hollow plastic part that houses a turntable and a bearing, and luckily the cover that reveals its guts can be removed hassle-free by just sliding it upwards a bit and lifting it out of the way. Okay, this is much better. Now we can take a closer look on her, because besides the gimmicky party trick of the wall mount, I think this is a lovely version of Rikka. First, I find the muted colors of her outfit together with the red swing very appealing. Only this orange bracelet, that also looks a bit hasty sculpted, feels out of place. I mean, yeah, it's a staple of the character, but then she's not wearing this all the time on all her outfits. I believe much more that this was a welcomed accessory by the manufacturer to hide the joint of her right hand. Because this one hand on the chain pose is not just for style but rather needed to keep the figure balanced. You have to clip her hand onto it and find the right angle. If you don't do this, well, let's see for yourself. Pah! Stupid figure manufacturers. Can't even model an inner ear correctly to keep her balance. What a joke! But if you set her up correctly, the pose with the curved back and her slight lean towards one side does look very natural. Together with her soft smile, I think this version of Rikka has a very warm and welcoming aura. Since she is just wearing a normal school uniform, the outfit has not many frills attached, but there are still some neat touches like the molded cuffs on her sweater or the yellow logo on her chest. A nice detail is that one of her slippers is below Rikka's heel, and you can almost feel the body tension that is needed to hold a shoe like this with just your toes. And then of course there is the elephant in the room, her thick thighs that reach from one swing suspension all the way to the other side. And given the fact that the size of a standard swing seat on a playground is 50 to 60 centimeters, oh boy. Besides this obvious moe point, it is also very appealing how her left hand reaches between her legs. The sculpting here is very convincing. Like Takina from last episode, this is another character with long dark hair, but since Rikka's hair color has far more blue tones mixed in, and since this scale figure is far better shaded in that area than your typical Nendo, it doesn't look that terrible against this black background. Her facial expression is a soft smile that really fits the character as well as this overall pose. You really want to grab the second swing and sit right next to her. Rikka's eyes are a bit flat and maybe a touch too pale. I mean, it's great for filming and taking pictures because you can color grade it from there, but for just displaying her, a bit more contrast and gloss would have drawn even more attention to this lovely face. And finally, the swing itself is also accurately sculpted, even if the end part looks very industrial. Is this the way swings are mounted in Japan? Or maybe it's just a nod to the mecha part of the series. The chain itself is made from real metal, and one of the many warnings on this leaflet is that the chain tends to leave dark markings on the bright parts of the figure. And in all honesty, this might be one of the instances where you want to read the included instructions, since they also tell you how to proper mount the figure. What was a bit of a surprise and not a welcome one is that Good Smile insists that you mount Rikka to a wall by using those, well, let's call them nails. I'm sure they are a joy to hammer in if you don't live in a house made from drywall or cardboard, but rather bricks and mortar, because then I really don't know how to mount this to a wall. Last year I moved places and therefore I also had to wall mount a couple of things, and let me tell you, each and every item, even the cheapest crap you can order on Temu, came with some dolls and screws included. So it's hard for me to believe that there was no other way to design the space so that it can be placed on any type of wall. But you know what they say, if it doesn't fit, use a bigger hammer. And instructions? I came here to enjoy figures, not to be lectured. So I guess it's time to be a bit creative and show Big Corpo how it's done. First I decided where to put her. I have this custom built shelf with different sized boxes for various figures, and in my opinion this one right here is the perfect fit for her. Not only is it quite narrow, I can also easily unscrew this top part and drill some holes into it. In the video I already showed you how to open this device, and once you've detached Rikka from her wall mount, you now need a drill and two drill bits. One that has the exact same diameter as this tiny screw, I used 2.5mm for that, and one that is big enough so that you can reach the screw afterwards with the screwdriver of your choice. Now we use the turntable part of the plastic shelf and mark down where we want to place the figure. I have already marked the front of the board, and since the shelf is kinda deep, I will place the swing in the first third. The first hole is the easier one since it goes straight through the board. I suppose you can do this by hand, but of course a pillar drill like this does help tremendously. As for the second hole, the trick is to not drill it all the way through, rather leave some material so that the screw will be held in place. To achieve this, I measured how deep I can go, and then I marked this on my drill bit. If this was successful, you can now drop the screws into the holes and the thread will stick out like this. Now simply use a screwdriver to mount the swing to the board, reinstall it into the shelf and cover up the drill holes on top with stickers or like I did with plastic covers. Et voila! Now Rikka can swing freely in her own little shelf space and we don't have to deal with this rather clunky wall mount. All things considered, I really like this figure. She is so cute on her little swing, definitely an eye-catcher, maybe even a conversation starter, and dare I say, not too expensive. But I would really only pull the trigger if I know where to put her in my collection, because if you place her in an odd spot, it might not look all that great. And even if I have a few characters in mind that are associated with swings, I don't think this is a new line Good Smile starter, but rather a fun little novelty. I simply bought her because she will look great in an upcoming figure photo and apparently the figure is good quality. Next time it's large chill time here on the show, so I hope you'll stick around, take care out there and keep having fun collecting.